This is why the U.S. economic activity seems so slow this summer, Michael Snyder reports. Do things seem slow to you this summer? If so, you are definitely not alone. In recent weeks, my wife and I have heard from so many people that are saying that activity at their businesses or organizations has been really slow lately. In other words, less money has been coming in than usual. This has caused a lot of confusion because when these people turn on their televisions, they're told that the U.S. economy is doing just fine. Of course, that's not actually true, but these media reports are still causing a tremendous amount of confusion. A lot of people out there are just very frustrated because things are so slow for their businesses or organizations right now, while the overall economy is supposedly buzzing along at a really good pace. So what is really going on? Well, it's absolutely imperative to understand that the Federal Reserve, what they've been doing, after pumping an unprecedented amount of money into the system during the pandemic, in recent months, Fed officials have actually been making efforts to reduce the size of money supply because they have been so scared of inflation. And as a result, M2 has been declining at the fastest pace in modern history. When the money supply contracts, there's going to be less economic activity. So this is one of the biggest reasons why things have been so slow for businesses and organizations over all America this summer, all over America. And if the money supply continues to shrink, a recession will be inevitable. At this point, the Conference Board Index of leading economic indicators has already fallen for 15 months in a row. An index designed to track turns into U.S. business cycles fell for the 15th straight month in June, dragging down by weakening consumer outlook and increasing unemployment claims, marking the longest streak of decreases since the lead up to the 2007-2009 recession. The Conference Board on Thursday said its leading economic index, a measure that anticipates future economic activity, declined by 0.7% in June to 106.1, following a revised decrease of 0.6% in May. The decline was slightly greater than the median expectation among economists in a Reuters poll for a 0.6% decrease. The last time we saw such a streak like this, we experienced the worst economic downturn since the Great Depression of the 1930s. And many would argue that we have already entered into a new economic downturn. Employers have been conducting mass layoffs all over the country, and the number of job openings in the United States just fell to the lowest level in more than 2 years. Another sign that the economy has fallen into hard times is the fact that the sales of cardboard boxes are absolutely plummeting. The following comes from an excellent article by Michael Maharry, and there's another off-the-beaten-path metric that is screaming recession, a big plunge in the sale of cardboard boxes. Earlier this month, Packaging Corps of America reported that cardboard box sales fell 9.8% in the second quarter. That ranks as one of the biggest slumps on record when you combine it with the 12.7% drop in Q1. According to a report by Freight Waves Research, the combined 6-month decline ranks as the biggest plunge since early 2009. Now you might wonder, what do cardboard box sales have to do with the economy? Stop and think about it. Stuff gets shipped in boxes. Everything from raw materials to final products arrives at your door is packaged in boxes, and if there's less stuff produced and sold, an economy will need fewer boxes. So cardboard box sales serve as a pretty good indicator of real economic activity, production, buying, and selling. And he's right. These numbers are absolutely screaming that a recession is dead ahead, and it is not just the U.S. economy that is struggling. According to Zero Hedge, the latest numbers show that manufacturing activity is now in contraction mode all over the planet. It's been a rough morning for global manufacturers' PMIs. China, Turkey, Italy, France, Germany, Eurozone, Canada, UK, and Brazil all printed below 50. That is, they're contracting. Wow, this is not good news at all. And in there we have China as well. Now, that's not good news at all. In Europe, the production of goods is falling at a rate that is truly frightening. Goods production in the Eurozone fell at the sharpest pace since the global financial crisis in July, except for pandemic-hit months, contributing to the fastest drop in factory gate prices since September 2009. So what is the bottom line? The bottom line is that big economic trouble is coming. I hope that you have been getting ready for such a scenario, and as I close the article, I want to share an excerpt from a recent Wall Street Journal article that described what has happened in a prominent shopping mall in Connecticut that was once extremely busy. Crystal Mall's parking lots used to be so crowded that parents would line up to drop off their teenagers near one of the entrances rather than search for a spot. Now the vast stretches of cracked pavement surrounding this 1980s-era regional mall on Connecticut's coast have more weeds than cars. Can you imagine? Valued by an appraiser at $153 million as recently as 2012, Crystal Mall sold in June for just $9.5 million in a foreclosure auction. To look at it now is disheartening, said Waterford's top elected leader, First Selectman Rob Brule, who grew up in this working-class town and describes the mall as a social centerpiece of his youth. The U.S. economy is just like that mall. Once upon a time, the U.S. economy was the greatest economic machine that the world had ever seen, but now our foundations are cracking and weeds are growing all over the place, and it's definitely disheartening to watch what's happening, because what is ahead is going to be far worse than what we're experiencing right now. After the Great Recession, our leaders should have attempted to fix the fundamental problems that we're facing. Instead, they just patched our economic and financial systems together and created an even bigger bubble. Now that bubble is bursting, and that's going to cause an extraordinary amount of pain for most Americans. This is by Michael Snyder. He says about the author, "My name is Michael, and my brand new book entitled End Times is now available on Amazon. In addition to my new book, I've written 6 other books that are available on Amazon, including 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters, commissions earned. When you purchase any of these books, you help to support the work that I'm doing, and one way that you can really help is by sending copies as gifts to family and friends. Time is short, and I need help getting these warnings into the hands of as many people as possible. I have also started a brand new Substack newsletter, and I encourage you to subscribe so that you won't miss any of my articles. I've published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and the Most Important News. And the articles that I publish on those sites are republished on dozens of other prominent websites all over the globe. I always freely and happily allow others to republish my articles on their own websites, but I also ask that they include this about the author section with each article. The material contained in this article is for general information purposes only, and readers should consult licensed professionals before making any legal, business, financial, or health decisions. I encourage you to follow me on social media, Facebook and Twitter, and any way that you can share these articles with others is definitely a great help. These are such troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, I strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. And this is by Michael Snyder on the Economic Collapse blog. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.